Hey everyone, it's me again. I wanted to come on here in the spirit of trying to continue my advocacy for Dravet syndrome and give some information and insight about Thomas and kind of what's been going on with him, specifically connected to his medications in light of his hospital visit last week. So, as I've said before, you can Google Dravet syndrome, and if you do Google it, they'll give you a pretty good idea of what it is, and they will give you a good definition of it. But the one unique thing about Dravet syndrome is that not one combination of medications will work for every child, because every child is completely unique in the way that they process and metabolize the medications. So, that being said, one of the other things I wanted to make a note of is, people ask me all the time, will he grow out of this? So Dravet syndrome is actually a genetic epilepsy, which means he will not grow out of it. He has what they call a de novo gene mutation, which means his familial line is the start of the mutation. It has not been inherited by myself or my husband, and my daughter does not have it either. And if we were to have more children, they would be unlikely to carry the gene mutation. It started with Thomas, and so his kids and his kids' kids will have a likelihood of having this gene mutation. So I just wanted to clear that up because people ask me all the time, like, when is he going to grow out of it? And oftentimes I just have to tell them that he won't. So his medications. I did mention a couple weeks ago, he is taking 3 medications that are primarily for the treatment of seizure disorders. A couple of them are for Dravet syndrome only, and a couple of them are used for generalized epilepsy as well. Now, the interesting thing about these medications is that in combination, they can cause pretty significant and severe side effects. One of the side effects of his Depakote, for example, is that it can cause long-term liver damage. For that reason, we do get blood work done every 3 to 4 months to make sure that his liver enzymes have not gotten higher, and we also make sure that his ammonia levels are stable. And anytime we increase one of the medications, we have to be very careful, because what happens is when you increase one of the medications, it causes the levels of the other medications to also increase in his blood, which is really interesting. So for example, a couple weeks ago, we increased his stearampental. Actually, that was about a month ago, we increased his stearampental. Now, when we did that, we did not decrease his Depakote or his clobazam, which essentially proved to be troublesome, and that we've noticed that over the past month. So what has happened over the past month with Thomas is that he's become increasingly more sedated. Now, all 3 of these medications are already sedative medications. So imagine living your life essentially walking around like you're feeling half high all day long. Unfortunately, that's Thomas's reality. Now, we always do the cost-benefit analysis of seizure medications versus, risk of seizures. So for him, this is the best that we can do for him right now. Now, when he gets older, that might change, but for right now, this is what we've decided to do. So last week, he had a couple seizures, ended up in the hospital, got some blood work done, ended up with high ammonia levels, which completely explained his sedation over the past month that we've noticed. So what we've decided to do now is that we do have to go down on one of his medications, the clobazam. Now, this is the benzodiazepam. So we are going to be very careful when we go down on it, because going down on a medication always does run the risk of more seizures. However, we do also not want to have high ammonia levels, and we don't want liver damage. So we are going to go down on this medication. We also don't want him walking around with more ataxia, which is lack of muscle coordination, than he already has. All that to say, this disorder is really baffling. We walk a line every day of trying to balance frequency of seizures with side effects of medications. It is the most difficult thing that we deal with on a daily basis. Because of these medications, we are dealing with, problems with speech, problems with physical movement, problems with low muscle tone. So in order to combat those, he is getting all the services that he needs, but this is something that we have to kind of balance every single day. We are hoping that with the new medication changes, we'll start to see some more energy out of him, and hoping that he will start to become more like his crazy, wild self. He's going to be turning 3 next week, so we're hoping that by then he's has more energy, and that he wants to participate in his birthday party. I felt like this conversation was one that I really wanted to have because it is probably more difficult to deal with, this balancing act, than it is to deal with the actual occurrence of seizures themselves. So I plan to continue coming on to advocate and spread information, spread awareness for our little guy. So thanks.